It might be worth a good, vigorous debate that the most significant event in human history was not the birth of Messiah Yeshua, nor even his death on the cross or the tree, but rather his resurrection. And this very folks with 2-minute Torah, day 2 of Acharei Motz. One more time. Let's go back to Vayikra, Leviticus chapter 16. And verse 1 says, And Yahweh spoke to Moshe after the death of the two sons of Aaron, as they drew near before Yahweh and died. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Speak to Aaron your brother not to come in at all times to the set-apart place inside the veil, before the lid of atonement which is on the ark, lest he die, because I appear in the cloud above the lid of atonement. So after the death of Aaron's two sons, Yah gives to Moshe a warning to Aaron. Don't make the same mistake. Don't venture in to where you're not invited, except for when I invite you. As we read this Torah portion, it would seem that from the end of chapter 10, where we have the recording of Nadav and Abihu's death, all the way up here now to chapter 16, that the intermediary or the interim chapters are kind of like a parenthesis of sort, that they contain information about clean and unclean, which again needs to be understood and rightly discerned so that we can approach the presence. This is about how to approach Yah and do so correctly. The underlying theme, however, is the consideration of death. So I want to follow up with some other scriptures that I didn't have time for yesterday. I want to follow up on yesterday's thought about the fear of death. Again, death, it could be, as we discussed yesterday, the more permanent entrance into the realm of the spirit. That is, the faculty and function of the body has to cease in order to release the spirit to be able to fully envelop and engage the spiritual. Galatians chapter 5 talks about how the spirit and the flesh are constantly warring one against each other. And this warfare is not going to cease as long as we're in this body. There's always going to be the draw and yearning of the body to master and to dominate the control of the human experience, at least as we know it in this realm. The Spirit is trying to prepare us for the spiritual realm, which is the longer version of life, the fuller version of life, the most fruit-bearing part of life. We live for decades, many of us, 70s, 80s, 90s. Every once in a while you hear someone that breaks the 100 barrier. And so we put a lot of premium on this life experience that we know. As children, we want to be older, and we get into our adolescent and teen years, and we imagine adulthood, and we enter into adulthood. And each decade seems to be a milestone of accomplishments and abilities to where you get into the phase of life that Laura and I are in now, and we look back and see decades of adult experience, wondering what are the remaining years going to be like. Will the body continually, I don't want to say deteriorate, but begin to battle its functions and its abilities? I pray not. I want to be fluid and moving and going and doing until the kingdom comes. We can only speculate in that regard. If we have no hope of the kingdom, however, If this is all that there is, can you imagine someone's mindset that has no redemption, no belief in Messiah Yeshua, no regard for the Word, and life is what technology and convenience and government and national stability and economics and health can provide? You add into that what relationships work and don't work, and it can be a fearful existence. It's all well and good while you're young and energetic, but when as you approach the latter stages of life, it's like, is this it? Am I just going to cease to exist and close my eyes and nothing? What hopelessness, what emptiness that is. And so we go over to the book of 1 Corinthians. And in 1 Corinthians, Rav Shaul, the Apostle Paul, is writing. And he says in verse 19, chapter 15, verse 19, if in this life only we have expectation in Messiah, we are of all men the most wretched. Now, he is saying that even to believe in Messiah and have the benefit of redemption in this present life, but no hope beyond that, leaves you miserable. How much more so if you don't know Messiah at all, and this world and its existence is all that there is. I mean, obviously, the world is manufacturing its own designed train wreck. Who wants to be a part of that with no hope of anything beyond? Continuing in this chapter, when we come over in verse 51 and following, it says, see, I speak a secret to you. We shall not all sleep, that is, be in death, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall all be changed. For this corruptible has to put on incorruption, and this mortal to put on immortality. And when this corruptible has put on incorruption, and this mortal has put on immortality, then shall come to be the word that has been written, death is swallowed up in overcoming. O death, where is your sting? O Sheol, where is your overcoming? So there is a promise, according to what Rav Shaul wrote, that there is more to this life. There is the expectation of immortality and incorruption and the continuing of life. Yeshua said it this way in John or Yochanan chapter number 11. He said in verse number 25, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he dies, he shall live. And everyone that is living and believing in me shall never die at all. Then he asked Martha, do you believe this? There is, in his words then, a promise that though the body dies, the spirit continues to live. This is not all that there is, and there is more. In the book of Hebrews, chapter number 2, verse 14 and following says, therefore, since the children share in flesh and blood, he himself, Yeshua, similarly shared in the same, so that by means of his death, he might destroy him having the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver those who throughout life were held in slavery by fear of death. I want us to understand today that there is no need to fear what lies beyond our current horizon and wall of expectation. No one wants to die. No one wants to end this life. Well, at least those who are still yet rightly functioning in this life. But there should not be a fear of the life that is yet to come. I love the way our friend Sukina and Kwamini put it. It's crossing the veil. Whenever that time comes, may we cross the veil in victory and not in fear. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.